Hi guys, welcome back. Hope you're doing very well and keeping yourself safe. Today I'm in Ajman in one of the Emirates in UAE to meet the founder of FOOD ATM, an Indian entrepreneur who sells a meal just for 3 dirhams. Yes, a meal for 3 dirhams. Hi Ayesha, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for your time. So just tell us, how does this journey begin? What is the thought behind entire FOOD ATM?
Well, the journey started somewhere in 2006, where I was working with the Government of Dubai organization, and with a high-profile job. The only stress buster that I had was cooking.
Wonderful.
And not that I knew anything about cooking.
Okay.
I used to learn new recipes every day, and that hobby of mine, or I should say the stress buster of mine, started stacking up my fridge completely. And just because we are taught from childhood that don't throw food, don't waste food, so I didn't want to throw it. And I wanted to find an audience who would readily accept it, and they won't be offended that I'm giving them some food.
The leftover food,
yeah, so they would think it's a leftover. But for me, it was an experimental food.
Okay.
Well, I had these people in my office, the cleaners, the drivers, the people who used to bring coffee for me, So I thought that they're the right audience, and I started giving these, piled up food, stocked food to them, and to my pleasant surprise, they were all very kind to me. They're very appreciative, and whether the food was good or not, but they used to appreciate it every day. That somehow started balancing my stress levels, and slowly, over a period of few weeks, I started going to workplace because I will get some appreciation for the food that I was carrying. So yeah, the journey began at a very different note.
Okay.
Somehow, after a few months of this, when I continued taking meals to the office and feeding these people, I had one of my office boys walking up to me, and he showed the picture of his 2 boys, 2 sons. They were 7, 8 years old, young children. Now I understood that when he walked up to me, that was his way of saying thanks. It's been a few 2-3 months that I've been giving some food. So I understood that he's just trying to be a little, emotionally conveying thanks. So I did my part. So I asked him, okay, your kids are going to school. They were in school uniform. So I asked him if the kids are studying well. He said, yeah, they're going to school because of you.
Wow.
They are able to go to school because of you. Now that was something I couldn't understand, I couldn't relate to, because honestly I was so much into my own world of ambitions and priorities, my family, my career, that I had not even ever talked to this person. So I barely knew him, other than just giving food to them. So I asked, how did that happen, brother? Because I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You didn't give any money to
I didn't give any money to them. So he said that you've been giving food to so many of us, around 15 people every day, and you've been giving such large quantities. So what we all do is we have it for lunch partially, and the other half we take it home and we have it for dinner.
Okay.
So with small salaries, those days they were the outsourced cleaners. So their salaries were around 400 to 450 dirham a month, in which they had to survive and send money home. Most of them would have taken some or the other loans to get the visas, and that is how it happens for them. So he was able to send some part home for sure, since he had to survive in UAE, and that did not leave his family with the luxury of having regular meals, and they had to just clear the debts. So these boys used to go to the nearby construction site, and they used to carry bricks on their head, and that's how they used to feed themselves, young boys. And his wife used to work as a cleaner at people's homes. So I asked him that, is education so expensive at your place? You have to pay huge fees? He said, no, it's free. I said, then you should have sent your children to school.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wait for me to give you the meals. So he said that since I wasn't able to send even that much, that they could have had food, they had to win their own bread, young children. So in front of me was an incapable husband, an incapable father, or someone who was honest to even tell the truth to me.
Okay.
That's when I felt extremely guilty, because whatever I had done for him was definitely not for him. And even for those 12 to 15 people I used to take food for, I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it as a stress buster for myself. And I felt so guilty that I could have at least seen these people. I could have at least looked around myself, and these are the people who are there in my own office. I don't even have to go out in the streets. So after I learned about his story, I started talking to the others in the office. So I had some women who were widows, they were cleaning the washrooms. Their mothers used to take care of their 2-3 children. There were boys whose parents were handicapped, had medical conditions. They all were here for a reason.
Definitely, yes.
They were all here like me. They had their own problems and their dreams, and they were all here for some purpose. And somehow I was playing a role in their lives. They were all now saving a significant portion of their salary, 2 meals a day, which is 60 meals in a month. So that was an amount, and it was now getting translated to Indian rupees, Pakistani currency, Nepali, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankan, some Arab nationals, Africans. So I was playing a role in people's lives without even realizing what I was doing.
What you're doing to them.
Yeah. So more than a sense of achievement, I was guilty because I wasn't doing for them, and now I wanted to do something. I didn't know what to do exactly. So when I sat back and I thought that would I be able to educate people's children, send medications home, or get people's sisters married and houses built? No, I wouldn't, because I was myself a salaried employee. I didn't have the luxury or so much of funds myself. I decided to continue to do what I was doing. At least I could feed them. I could bring meals from home and I could feed them. That is what I was doing. And I decided to now visit the internet, not only for a stress busting recipe, but to educate myself what could be a balanced meal for people who are doing physically intensive tasks like cleaners and the drivers and gardeners, and they work in difficult temperatures also, difficult weather. So
the calories and the proteins.
Right. So I really started studying. So what was most important is they should like the food, and it should give some nutritional value to them.
So Ayesha, how did your family react to this decision of yours of quitting this high-paid government job in Dubai?
Like any other family, they were shocked. So for me, which was a very big passion, and I was so obsessed with my thought of helping people from 200 countries and reaching goodness to 200 countries, so many children studying and parents getting medication. So I was all filled up with my ambition and objective of doing good for so many lives. But all these things didn't really settle well with people in my house, because they wouldn't, they were not able to relate to what was I exactly getting towards. So is this a food industry project? Because she's not from the food industry. Is it a humanitarian project? She has no idea about what she's doing. So they had so many queries, and they were not really, they were not with the same mindset. So it is very obvious that when one family member comes up with a very different mindset, others will take time to absorb it and accept it. Yes. So yes, it was a difficult time, approximately a year, till they could see some result and they could see me touching lives positively. Yes, that's when it started making sense to them.
Okay. And you sell a meal for 3 dirhams.
Yes.
Just for 3 dirhams. How does this work for you? How do you manage the economies?
Well, this is one of the most asked questions. 3 dirham. How come 3 dirham? So yes, in case if you happen to think it from a particular restaurant or a cafeteria perspective business, then it is difficult to match up with all those overheads and the costs that we incur. But my line of work is with volumes. So I serve thousands of meals every day, and for that obviously I have to buy all the raw materials and even the packaging materials, everything in huge bulks. So where people would not buy from containers, I have to buy from containers, not from warehouses or supermarkets. So yeah, that's how my equations are. I have to source from different places, from very larger units of supply, and that's how it works. So when I buy from a very bulk kind of background or bulk sourcing, my sales also needs to be the bulk, otherwise it can't meet the cost. So when I go for volumes, yes, it works for me. I'm not saying that in 3 dirham I make 3 dirham, I don't make 3 dirham. I have a very slim margin, but yes, it works.
It works for you. And if somebody wants to sponsor you or contribute to your mission, how do they do it?
This is something which all of us need to do at these times. I always tell my friends, we are lucky that We are the privileged people in these times when pandemic has affected globally to every country, every region, and almost every business. So there's no one spared. That holds true for our geography and everywhere. We have so many companies which are in a bad state of business, and their people are not all on jobs. So either they would be waiting for the next job opportunity, or they're just waiting to leave, because we are all expats here. I should say a larger percentage of people.
Absolutely.
So yes, we are providing 1,000 gift meals every day through Baitul Care to all those laborers and workers who have lost their jobs, and they're waiting for another job, or in case nothing works, they have to be deported. Until then, they need to be surviving here, they need to be fed. So we are providing 1,000 meals every day.
1,000 meals every day?
Every day, yes, and it's through Baitul Care. So it's a government recognized charity where they go and provide the meals, they take it from us. So it's we who cook and pack and give it to their vehicles. Their vehicles transport it to exactly those labor camps and labor accommodations where these most needy people are there. So we are, and every month we get a report, and they are so kind to us, they acknowledge everyone who has participated. So with me, everyone can participate. Maybe we can touch more than 1,000 meals.
Wonderful.
So I request people that they can sponsor 1 meal a day. So that makes it 30 meals in a month.
So Ayesha, what would you advise for someone who wants to follow their passions and want to do something for humanity? What would be your message?
I have a very simple, straightforward message, that when we follow our heart, we are the best versions of the humans that we are. So why not do what we love to do? And the rest follows. There will be challenges, whether it's a commercial venture or a social venture, there will be challenges. Every venture has it. But then when we have our dreams so much instilled in us, ingrained in us, why not follow it? So when we do it with all our heart, we'll be the best versions of ourselves, and that's how we'll be able to contribute further to this world. On humanitarian grounds, or as a good professional, we'll be able to contribute better.
Simple message, but deep thought. I also believe that initially you had some financial hurdles. How did you overcome them?
There's a little story to that.
Okay.
I was a salaried employee, as you know, and I was so ambitious about this entire objective and this project that I walked up to the Ministry of Economic Development and I told them, let's have a food center. Now it's been a few years, since 2006 to 2018. I've been feeding people in my office, and I know it works, and I know it's a contribution to their lives. They heard me patiently, and being from the IT background, I took a complete project in a presentation, and I explained to them. So what I had actually told the ministry was, I want to have a food center where there can be tens of Ayeshas who keep the meals there, and anyone who is needy can just take it. Because we have our own careers and this is our contribution, so there's no charge to it. So anyone can come and pick the meal. So there can be any needy who can just walk up to the food center and take a meal. So they said, look Ayesha, your intention is not wrong, but the method can't be implemented. You can't just have meals getting cooked from the home kitchen and come and keep into a food center and tens of Ayeshas doing it, just in case something goes wrong.
Like compromising on health and safety.
Food poisoning.
Food poisoning.
Yeah, whom do we hold responsible? So business doesn't work like that here. You need to have proper health and safety license and inspections and all the checks in place. Only then we can allow you to do something like that on a large scale.
Okay.
So when they explained to me, it came to a large list of things. A large list where I needed to have a facility, I needed to have so many people, so many equipments, and so many measures and systems followed and certifications done, and only then I could cater to thousands of lives. Even if it's meals as simple as 3 dirham, but then you need to follow the law. Well, I went with a lot of enthusiasm and I came back with a big list. When I came back and I sat down, I had to calculate how would I go about meeting those points in the list. That's a huge list. As a typical Indian, we have a large population of Indians here. All what we do, all of us do, is buy a huge house in India, a piece of land. We construct a beautiful house and try to fill it with all the glamorous things that we always dream about to live with at some point of time in our life, which I had done. The dream house, yeah. So I had done that, a multi-storied villa, and done it with all the beauty, ethics, aesthetics that I liked. Fine. When I went through the list, I understood that with all the savings that I have now, which is in the form of a villa, in case I have to go ahead with the project, I would have to do away with it. I would have to sell it. So yes, that is exactly what I did. I went back home to India. I sold the house, brought the money here, and I could buy lease a facility in Ajman. I couldn't afford it in Dubai or Sharjah for reasons which is obvious. And beyond cost, I also found a place which is an industrial area with surrounded with small, big companies, small and medium companies, where there are thousands of laborers in this area alone. So I singled down on this place. I leased it out. It's of course with the money that I had got from selling my dream home in India.
So she not only quit a high-paid government job, but sold a villa back home to start this venture. This is the meal which is sold for 3 dirhams here. The chicken biryani, the curd, the chips and the bottle of water. This tastes more delicious because this has a lot of kindness and love into it. So Ayesha, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Indeed a pleasure to meet you. I'm truly inspired by your story. So viewers, if you like this video and would like to contribute to Ayesha's mission, I will leave the contact details in the description below. You can get in touch with her directly. Thank you very much and see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe.